Hey, what is up, everybody? Welcome to Pop Culture Philosophers. Welcome to our Friday stream that we do with Dynamite Comics. That's right, we got Rex and Amy from Dynamite to join us today for another Friday conversation on what we like to call the Amy, Rex, and Robbie Show, or to abbreviate, we call it the R Show because we're pirates. What's up, y'all? How you doing?
What's up, man?
We're great.
So
I'm great, at least.
Yeah, that pirate thing, that's new.
R.
Yeah. Next time we got to all wear like hooks for hands and eye patches, and we all got to give we literally got to give an arm and a leg for the next show, y'all. Just so you know. Okay?
Yeah. I'm the straight man, so I don't do costumes and stuff like that.
Oh, you're the Bud Abbott? Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yeah, okay, I'll go with that. I'm Bud Abbott.
Right.
I'm all right.
That's fine. Me and Amy can be Lou Costello. It's okay. We'll be cool with that. So today we're gonna have I think we got a good show planned. You know, like I was looking through the news this week and I was like, nothing's really sticking out to me. And then I saw this stuff about Doug Liman talking about Roadhouse. We'll get to that in a little bit. We're gonna be talking about Doug Liman putting Amazon on blast, basically, writing an article denouncing their release of his new film, Roadhouse. But before that, I wanted to go over the Oscar nominations. The Oscar nominations were announced this week, and Oppenheimer's the big winner so far. Like, 14, 15 nominations, lots of categories, and very excited for that. But there was a little bit of controversy about some of the Academy Award nominations. So let's just run through Best Picture real quick. American Fiction, Anatomy of a Fall, Barbie, The Holdovers, Killers of the Flower Moon, Maestro, Oppenheimer, Past Lives, Poor Things, and The Zone of Interest. Now, I've only watched 2 of those films. This is what happens every Academy Awards season. I've only seen a couple, but it gives me the opportunity to check out some of these other films that sometimes become some of my favorite films. For instance, last year, The Banshees of Inisherin was one of my favorite films that I discovered because it was in the Oscar race. So, Amy, let's kick it off with you. What do you think about the nominations? Have you seen any of them? Do you have any that you're pulling for? What are your overall thoughts?
What you said about the Oscars, again, that's probably one of the good things about it, is that it does help people find these films that are otherwise kind of maybe ignored by a lot of the audience, and that's really probably the best thing you can say about the Oscars. I know people they're all the awards are pointless, but it helps good movies get made. Otherwise, there would just be garbage out there. So these 10 nominees, I've seen most of them. Some of them I got to catch up on, which I'm going to do this weekend. I think they're pretty much what everyone thought they were going to be. It feels honestly pretty predictable this year because a lot of people are saying Oppenheimer's just going to take it. And otherwise, in a perfect world, I would have put Across the Spider-Verse as one of the nominees because I think that was totally worthy to be there. But some people don't think animated movie can win Best Picture. I say they're wrong.
Well, it's going to take a lot to have that happen, right? Now, of course, there's its own category for Best Animated Feature, which it is nominated for, but a lot of people are saying that it will probably lose to, what's that movie called? The Boy and the Heron or something like that?
Look, I liked The Boy and the Heron, but Miyazaki has better movies, okay? That might be controversial, but...
Well, one thing that I find with the Academy Awards is that they're always late to the game, meaning that they award certain filmmakers and performers probably a little bit later, not at the time when they should have won the Academy Award. We've talked about this a little bit. We talked about it a little bit last week with The Departed. Is The Departed Martin Scorsese's best film? Not in the slightest, in my opinion, right? But The Departed, that was a year, that was an opportunity for the Academy to put the shine on Martin Scorsese for all the times that he didn't have that shine. Denzel Washington, Training Day is the movie that he wins an Academy Award for? No, but that was because at the time they didn't give it to him for Malcolm X. I think Tom Hanks won or something from Philadelphia or something maybe that year, but I could be getting the years mixed up. But this is something that to me seems to happen with the Academy Awards. Like Christopher Nolan, I think has been Oscar worthy his pretty much his entire career. And I think now because of the hype of Oppenheimer, the success of Oppenheimer, this is the year that the Academy decides we're going to focus on him. And maybe they already decided this. I don't know. I'm not trying to be one of those NFL is rigged and scripted, but the Academy Awards might be. You know what I'm saying?
Understandable, but I mean, how planned are they? I mean, we've seen how they can go wrong.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. Rex, you got any thoughts on these Academy Award nominations? Have you seen any of these films?
I do actually, but I'm going to take a completely different angle that you're not even going to see coming. My statement on this show would be the Academy Awards have become irrelevant, period. Okay. So the way they choose things, Barbie kind of got jammed because they historically have not leaned favorably towards comedies. In this day and age, when something like this happens, like the Super Bowl, everybody thinks the fix is in. It's a conspiracy theory. I don't know. I think that, but in all honesty, my opinion of the Academy Awards is I won't see a movie because it's been nominated. I'll see a movie if I read about it and it interests me. There's interest to it. Okay. Like somebody recommended Brother's Son. Okay. Not something I would have seen. I don't care if it won an award. Probably wouldn't have watched it, but ended up watching it on a friend's recommendation. And I think the numbers kind of back me up. I remember back before my daughter was born. So we're talking 23 plus years ago, almost a quarter of a century. I remember going to work and we'd have pools. Okay. Just like you have with March Madness, and all of that. We would have pools on the Academy Awards and we'd all make our predictions. It was a big thing. And everybody would go home and watch it and whatever. So that had to be in the 90s. So I could only find figures of 2000 to 2023. And this is how far viewership has fallen off. So in the year 2000, you had 46.33 million people watching the Academy Awards. In 2023, you had 18.7 million. And the worst year of all was 2021 when you had 10.4 million. Okay, so their viewership has fallen off by a quarter. I don't watch it. Okay, I just don't. It's boring. It's too long. I could be streaming a movie. I don't really care what the Academy thinks. Okay, if I like a movie, I like a movie. In the same way that we've talked about it before, professional movie critics have become irrelevant. Okay, you can see it on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, critics score 40%, and all of a sudden, fan score is higher than that. So who gives a crap what they're saying? Okay, the Siskel and Ebert days are over. I have mad respect for Martin Scorsese, but he's of that generation. They can't see the streaming. They can't see it work. They don't want things to change, and that's unfortunate because I think he has been and still is a brilliant director. But dude, just like the VCR, just like Blockbuster, adapt or die. This is the way things are changing, and the Academy's become part of that. They are irrelevant. You don't have enough people watching to care. I really don't care. I don't care who they nominate. I don't care who wins. And it really goes with all the other awards. I would rather read about it on Rotten Tomatoes, read about it on the internet, talk to people that I know, okay, who have a common interest in that genre of film. Okay, I'll listen to the buzz. Okay, like Oppenheimer. I don't need the Academy to tell me that's an excellent film and I need to go watch it. What do I need them to tell me? Okay. And then, of course, you're always going to disagree. And that was part of it. That was part of the draw of the Academy Awards to disagree. Now, I'm looking at it like, I don't care who you nominate. I don't care who you give the award to. Doesn't matter. Does not affect my life at all. Now, Barbie and I think Greta, I don't remember her name, the director for Barbie. I'm sure that they felt a little insulted. I'm sure they felt a little hurt that they weren't nominated in their categories, but I'm sure they're going to be able to get over it pretty quick as they're laughing all the way to the bank.
Yeah. We'll get to that here in just a second. Now, I get what you're saying. The Academy Awards definitely are not what they used to be. There used to be a time where I did care about the Academy Awards, right? Like I would hang on the nominations. I would watch all the movies. I would do the Oscar ballot. I would do the picks. I was really good at that. Like there was one year where I almost got every single one of them right. Even the stuff I had no idea about, like best short documentary or something like that. Right?
You would have won big money in my office poll.
See, and I've done things like that, and I've been the winner. And like I used to like really pay attention to it. Cinema is one of my favorite things. I love movies, right? But nowadays, it doesn't have the same weight as it used to, but one thing that it does do is it does sometimes put the spotlight for somebody like me who does look at the list of movies and still tries to make sure to watch all the Best Picture nominations. It does put some smaller movies on my radar that aren't on my radar anymore in a world where it's not like we're going to the cinema every single week to watch a movie where they're always on my brain. Also, back in these days, like I worked at movie stores, I worked at movie theaters, I work at a comic book shop now. I keep up with the comics, but movies are a little bit more difficult for me to keep up with. So I 100% agree with you, Rex, that it has definitely lost a lot of its luster. A lot of people don't care, but I do appreciate that there are some movies that I discover because of the nominations. Now, they're not usually the ones that are like lauded, because they try to go in with the more popular ones, but it does help me notice some movies that I wouldn't have noticed, including last year's Banshees of Inisherin, which I think is one of the best new films I've seen in a very, very long time.
We have to take a technical timeout. Do you feel cold in here?
I'm okay, actually.
Really? For some reason, I feel cold. Sorry. I was going to snap the heat on. Sorry. All right. But continue.
Everyone's kind of right on this side. Like, yes, there's some irrelevance to it, but then the stuff that is relevant is so many. Sometimes that's what people work for in their career when you're in film. You want to get the recognition of your peers and of the industry, and it helps put spotlight on all these different, creators, whether it's directors or up and coming actors. And this will have to. It's a way to again really be recognized and just help them be remembered. Essentially, even if you don't win an award, at least you're recognized by your peers in the industry and in all film fans of the world.
So let me say this, okay? I want to respond to Anissa. Now, I will agree that the Academy has historically been biased against comedies, okay, as a whole. That much is true. There's no telling that it's been through its history both racist, sexist, and all of those things, okay? But this year, I don't know. It's falling a little bit on deaf ears with me because you have the first Native American being nominated for Killers of the Flower Moon. Okay, so that's a major step, and nobody's talking about that really. We're all so upset that Barbie got snubbed. To me, yeah, I think that they're elitist. I think they're elitist, and I think that they left Barbie out more so because it was a comedy, less so because of what everybody's accusing them of. Okay, because then why would you nominate a Native American, the first Native American ever, in a, let's call it what it is? They love Scorsese. Because the man don't make comedies, okay? Drama-filled kind of movies is what they've always driven towards.
After Hours is a really good Martin Scorsese comedy. Just saying.
So in order to eliminate that kind of snub, I think it's already happening. There's really no power that the Academy has. I'll be honest with you. If you're telling me you could win Best Picture for the Best Picture category for you could be Best Actor category for a wonderful independent film that made almost $0. I'm still living out of my car, or I can get snubbed by the Academy and win Best Actor for Barbie. Okay, which I took home nothing but suitcases of cash. Which would I prefer? You can snub me all day long, all you want, Academy. Give me the money. Okay, so how does this snub really hurt them, like Margot Robbie? It doesn't. She knows what she's about at this point. The director knows what she can do.
She's still nominated because she helped produce the movie, so she's still a nominee.
I understand that, but you see what I'm saying? Okay, so there's all of this backlash now because everybody's jumping on that. She's a woman and blah blah blah. And again, I'm not saying that they aren't biased in their way, but I don't think it is what everybody thinks it is. Okay, so maybe that archaic system, okay, is gone. Look, I look at it this way: the results are proven by what people say, by the money your movie made, okay, not by the Academy. Okay, this is something I hate to bring it up, but it is a big chunk of my life. A softball example. At a certain age group, everybody gets a medal, participation medal. Then you go to MVPs. Then you go to trophies if you win the tournament. Okay. All right. Then you get to a certain stage where you're playing showcase ball and trying to be recruited in college. There are no awards. There are no medals. Your prize is you get recruited to play in college. I guess that's kind of my point. What does the academy even mean? Okay, you can disagree or agree with their selections, but how's it relevant? Okay, Scorsese didn't maintain his career by winning Academy Awards. It's just recognition. Okay, it's nice to be recognized. Okay, but if that's what you're doing it for, you're doing it for the wrong reasons anyway. So that's kind of the way I look at it. You know, it's,
this is exactly where I wanted to get to. Okay, so this is the thing that I've been hearing the most, right? The hot takes coming from the Oscar nominations are that Barbie got snubbed. And my first thought was like, how did Barbie get snubbed? It got nominated for Best Picture. How did Barbie get snubbed? It got nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. How did Barbie get snubbed? It has people who are part of it that got nominated, including Ryan Gosling. Now, when I first watched Barbie, I came out of that theater. I said, this is 3.5. I have some problems with the length of the third act, and I don't think that Will Ferrell's villains were very super compelling or enticing. I felt like that element of the movie felt very 90s, but I did think it was a really good movie. And being nominated, I think, recognizes that. But when I came out of that movie, I straight up said, Ryan Gosling, and I've said this multiple times on this show and other shows that I do, Ryan Gosling needs to be nominated for this movie. There was something about his Ken performance. Now, I know it's easy to jump in then and go, well, this is a snub towards Barbie because of the prejudice against women in the Academy that's been historic, right? And I'm not disagreeing that that's something that has been historically a problem. Penny Marshall used to talk about that shit all the time, right? But nobody's talking about America Ferrera got nominated for this movie for Best Supporting Actress.
Thank you.
Nobody's talking about that. Like, there is a woman in this movie that got nominated. Plus, everybody wants to talk about, well, let's talk about, what's her name? Greta, whatever her Greta. Greta, was it? What's her last name? Do you know?
Greta Gerwig is her name.
Yeah, Greta Gerwig.
Sounds like a fake name. That sounds like a cartoon name. I'm just saying. It sounds like Stan Lee came up with that. But everybody's talking about, you know, well, they'll snub her because she's a woman. So, but Justine Triet got nominated for Best Director for Anatomy of a Fall. Like, obviously not as popular of a movie as Barbie, but a woman did get nominated for Best Director again this year, and it has been something that's happened. I don't think it's a snub. I think it's like, is Margot Robbie, this is the performance of her career? Like, I don't think so, but so I don't know.
Jay Byrne said that. Oh, we're moving it. Jay Byrne said we were frozen. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but we're moving again.
As someone who's watched, many Oscar ceremonies, even though the progression is slow, the progression is still there with the diversity and nominations and who's getting recognized and also who's winning. Because especially when it comes to Best Pictures have been weird lately. Like 10 years ago, a movie like Everything Everywhere All at Once would not have won because people would have turned off on it. But now it was such an original movie that came out last year. Everyone loved it and it got the award. And then more independent films are getting out there. Coda was a Sundance darling. It got to be Best Picture. Guillermo del Toro and The Shape of Water. It's a weird fantasy movie about a woman being in love with the fish man. Again, 10 years ago, that wouldn't have won Best Picture, but it did. So the progression is there. Even if it's small, it's there.
We are frozen. So I guess audio's still coming across.
Yeah,
but
we're getting your audio just fine, but y'all are frozen. It's like a picto novel. It's like a picture novel. Man. I like it.
I hate Comcast. Ryan Riley, you know it. I hate Comcast. Damn you, Comcast. I hope you're listening.
So, Amy, do you think that this is a direct snub against Greta and against Margot?
I find it understandable on both sides of the argument. Like, only so many people can get in, and it sucks that they didn't get in. But at the same time, Barbie is still being recognized for a lot of good achievements. And I mean, and just think about Greta Gerwig alone. All of her solo directorial features have been nominated for Best Picture. Not many women have that. Barbie, Little Women, Lady Bird, like, they've all been up for Best Picture. Like that's an achievement all its own.
So, Anissa, then really, what I'm saying is probably a solution to the problem that you're stating. Okay, is basically as the Academy Awards become irrelevant and we make it irrelevant, then what they think doesn't really matter. You know, to me, it's just become kind of a controversy that doesn't need to exist. What power do they truly have? None. The power they have is the power we as the audience give them. Their judgment means nothing. Okay, it started as a judgment by your peers. That's how the Academy started. It was in a way to be judged by your peers for your work. Okay, which was great, and evolved into a form of entertainment that could generate money and help market movies and all that. And then and when that happened, it changed. Well, now because of technology, whatever else, you know, where we access that information, that marketing has changed, and they haven't. And that's why you see that they've lost a quarter of their viewership since 2000, or 3/4 rather. They only have a quarter of that. That's a huge drop off, dude. If you're a regular sort of business and your sales falls off by 3/4, okay, in 20 years, you're probably out of business, a la Sears, okay. That can't happen. So at this point, the way that I see it is, who cares who cares if you think the Academy snubbed them or the Academy didn't? How relevant is it? It's not. Okay. You know, they're gonna cast Margot Robbie in something else because she's a box office powerhouse, not because she won an Academy Award. You know, this is like that ridiculous. That's like that ridiculous argument in basketball, which I know you follow. You know, LeBron's the GOAT. You know, Jordan wasn't. What? Two different players from two different eras. What? It's like you're looking for something to talk about.
Yeah.
And I kind of feel that way right now. Okay. It's the only reason the Academy can be misogynist or racist or anything else is because we give them the power to do it. Okay.
You know, I think a lot of this has come from
irrelevant.
I think a lot has come from the idea that Ryan Gosling got nominated and Margot Robbie didn't. Like, Ken got nominated over Barbie. But I want to tell you something, y'all. Like, as much I love that, I like the Barbie movie. Okay. And I know a lot of people are like, now that it's on streaming, a lot of people are getting on it. It's a great film. It's way better than it had any right to be. It's social commentary. It's funny. It's quirky. It's got style. But Ryan Gosling, to me, Ken, it's kind of like he's kind of the crux of that movie. And I know that the message of the movie is a part of why that is. But like Ryan Gosling, to me, is pushing himself a little bit further. Now, do I think he should win? No. But I haven't seen some of these other films yet, you know. But Ryan Gosling did something outside of his norm in that movie. I don't know if Margot Robbie did. And to be honest, her Barbie performance, I think the character of Barbie itself is a hindrance here because there wasn't a lot of room for her to move and grow like Ken had in that script. But I don't know. That's kind of what I think about it.
I kind of agree with you, but I do want to address what Anissa is saying. Okay. And here's the thing. I agree with you on the overall problem. The Academy and how they act is a symptom of their times. Okay. But, and I agree with OUG. Progress has been too slow. But I'm going to focus my energy, okay, on changing the overall problem and not worry about the Academy because the Academy is irrelevant to my life. Okay. If my daughter's discriminated against when she tried to get a job, that's relevant to me. Okay. When I don't see a representative that looks like me in government, that's important to me. Okay. What the Academy thinks of Barbie with their boatloads of cash, okay, and whether or not Margot Robbie, who is never going to want for anything in her life, okay, was snubbed, is irrelevant in my life. How does that, changing the Academy and making them, not misogynist, not sexist, not going to change the rest of the world. We got to tackle that problem from the top down. So what I'm saying, let me see. And I'm not saying you can't voice your opinion. You can voice your opinion all you want.
There's something else I wanted to say, for the progression, as long as you guys keep yelling and keep demanding, more changes, they'll keep coming. So, Anissa, don't stop.
Nobody's telling you not to complain about
don't
something.
don't stop, because the more you yell, the more the changes will come. The faster the change will come. That's why.
Well, one thing I'll say is this too. Just because we're talking about the topic of whether or not we felt Barbie got snubbed in certain areas, right, doesn't mean that that's a separate conversation, I think, from the way that women and people of color have been treated by the Academy over the decades. I think that's a different thing. Like, if we were talking about an incredibly powerful movie, you know what I'm saying, that like somehow got ignored because it was made and produced by women and starred women, I would feel you, right? But I don't think that's the case with Barbie. I don't think that the Barbie snub happened because of the fact that Greta and Margot are women, but I think the snub came because, as Rex said, the Academy Awards are usually not keen on highlighting comedies in these kind of awards, right? And Barbie is considered a comedy, even with its messaging or its relevance or whatever socially. Like, I think that conversation of women and minorities being recognized by the Academy and the slow progression of that is separate from the Barbie being snubbed, because I don't think Barbie got snubbed. He got nominated for Best Picture, got nominated for Best Adapted Screenplay. Ryan Gosling got nominated for Best Supporting Actor. America Ferrera got nominated for Best Supporting. The Academy doesn't see a movie like Barbie as worthy of something across the board because it's not as dramatic, or it's not as maybe
they tend to lean towards that.
Exactly,
so,
right?
I guess my point is this, okay, and to use another analogy, we all know how the stats work on voting, right? Young people tend not to vote, okay? Older people, especially retirees, tend to vote. That's why I don't care what political party you're in, they tend to focus on that age group because they know they're gonna turn out to the polls. But who likes to demonstrate when there's a social injustice, an issue? The young like to do that, okay? March and whatever. And I'm not saying that that's not a necessary part of the process. But really, if you're doing that and you're not voting at the end, then what you're doing is really not going to solve the problem. And that's what I'm saying about everybody thinking that the Academy snubbed them. Yeah, they did. For what reason? I don't know. Okay. Maybe it is sexism. Maybe it is racism. Maybe it is partially we don't like comedies. Okay. That's all. Okay. Whatever reason. It may be a mixture of all of them. But at the end of the day, changing the Academy will not change the world. Okay. Misogynist people will still exist. Sexism will still exist. Racism will still exist. Maybe not in the Academy, but it still exists. So I'm saying get to the root of the problem. Okay. Yanking a weed out one at a time is not a productive use of clearing a garden of weeds. Okay. So that's what I'm saying is that we've spent more time in the media talking about Barbie getting snubbed than we have about some real issues that are going around in the world as we're approaching an election. That's what scares me. Okay. That really just kind of scares me because, there's nobody who, the snub did not hurt really anybody except their feelings, right? And cause a discussion about what the Academy is. And there's nothing wrong with discussion. But this is what I'm afraid of, is we get distracted by stuff, in my mind, is not going to change anything. And that energy, as I get older and you have less of it and less time, you want to really focus on what's the problem. I don't want to pull weeds out of the garden one at a time, okay? I want to find a way to eradicate the weeds, okay, in the most efficient fashion in the shortest amount of time. And that's what I feel like, this kind of goes. We argue about this every year, and just because of the way things are changing, it's going to become less and less relevant, okay? It already has. As I said, just my personal pattern of behavior shows me, okay? I used to join office polls to determine who's going to win the Academy Awards, to the point where I don't even know which day it's supposed to be on TV. I don't. When's it on?
Some Sunday night. I don't know. Not the Super Bowl night.
Only because I pay attention.
I know when the Super Bowl is. Okay. I know when the playoffs are. I know what time they are this weekend, but I don't care about the Academy. I'm not going to watch it. I don't care about their opinion. All right.
So that's fine, Rex. That's
no, but no, you misunderstand. Some people do, and that's fine. Okay. That's totally cool. It's like Robbie's a horror fan. I haven't seen a horror movie in I don't know how long. Okay. I don't think any less of Robbie because he's a horror fan, and I don't think he thinks any less of me because I don't watch it. You see, I think that's the problem is that
they shit on the Oscars shit on horror movies as well.
They do, and here's the thing. Here's the thing that bothers me about that. When a horror movie does get nominated or win, they call it a psychological thriller. Like
right.
Silence.
So
there's a horror movie that won Best Picture. That was Silence of the Lambs, but everybody acts like that's not a horror film, but it totally is.
So
totally.
You just proved it. Okay, so they are clearly prejudiced. Okay, they totally snubbed an entire genre. No horror movie has ever been nominated, okay, for an Academy Award ever.
And let us not forget that one of the reasons, because back in the day, for the longest of times, only 5 movies got nominated for Best Picture, right? And one of the reasons why they expanded it to 10 was because they felt like they were losing their audience. They did what the Grammys did when in like the year 2000 or 99, 98, whenever it was, when Carlos Santana's Supernatural won all those awards, because they were like, let's try to be relevant. And like, let's have the movies that are popular have a chance too. So they expanded it to 10 nominations for Best Picture. So you could have, for instance, the Hangover. The Hangover's been nominated for Best Picture. Did we ever think that was going to win? No. But like, it was to have it as a part of the conversation to try to hopefully bring more young people into watching the Academy Awards, because like we've been talking about, they've been losing their stuff. Now, that being said, in the history of the Academy, 8 women have been nominated for Best Director. Only 8. None of them have ever won. I understand. And this is talking about, let this be our year. And I think it's kind of shitty too, because it's what the Academy does sometimes, is that they do have those years where, and I don't want to get into this too deep, but they do have those years where they're like, this is the year we're going to make up for having been racist for so long. Right. So we're going to give the Lifetime Achievement Award to Sidney Poitier, and we're going to have Halle Berry win, and we're going to have Jamie Foxx win. And I'm just like, just do better. Like, you don't have to make it up all in one year and then ignore it again. And that seems what's happening. Like last year, I love Everything Everywhere All at Once. That totally deserved all those nominations, but that was their chance to say, no, we're not racist against Asian cinema or Asian Americans in cinema. And it was like, it's almost like it feels so half-assed and not wholehearted sometimes when that happens. And if Barbie was the movie that broke that, right, and they gave everything to Barbie this year, it would totally smell like that again. And then next year, we'd be right back in the same boat, right? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I said, you know what the problem is that I agree with everything you just said. You brought up a very good point. They know they are losing their audience. They know that if I could look that up, somebody in their office is watching viewership go down. So what you said is exactly a nail on the head. They're trying to fix a problem that may be unfixable. Okay, just like Blockbuster. What are you going to do? Nobody wants to rent this stuff from you anymore. You know, technology has changed it, right? So in a desperate attempt to try to keep it alive, they're trying to tweak it and fix it and fix it and fix it. And no matter what they do, it's going wrong because what you represent is dying. So I don't know if it's a deliberate kind of snub or trying to be misogynist or trying to be sexist or trying to be racist. It's just based on what you said, trying to fix it, trying to plug the leak in the wall. Okay, and another one pops up, and you're plugging, and before you know it, the wall's holy. It's full of holes that you're trying to plug up. I think that's where they're at, and I think that's a very relevant point that you brought up. Okay,
and I did misspeak when I said none of them have ever won, because as everybody in the chats let me know, Catherine Bigelow did win for Hurt Locker, which was my big pick that year. So
which I got to be honest with you, I thought was an okay film.
Hurt Locker's great. I love the Hurt Locker.
Yeah, I didn't feel that way.
But I'm a Catherine Bigelow fan, and that started with Near Dark back in the day, y'all. So like, I'm a huge Catherine Bigelow fan. I loved the Hurt Locker. That was a big surprise. That's sometimes the Academy surprised you, sometimes they don't.
Dark?
What's that?
Who's in Near Dark?
Oh man, Lance Hendrickson, Bill Paxton. It's the vampire movie. Where like there's this like traveling family of vampires, and this dude gets wrapped up.
I interrupted you again. No, you said that, and I'm like, whoa, I feel like I've seen that. I think I have.
Near Dark's one of the greatest vampire films out there, man. I love it.
yeah, guys, there's no one right. There's no just single answer for everybody, and it's we can't please everybody all the time. All we can do is just talk about it and see each other's point of view.
Well, I think that this is also a reflection of the times, okay, in the sense that whether it be because of social media or just let us have a way to vent or a way to say all these things. People in this day and age are completely polarized. Okay, there seems to be no middle ground. There's, and this is just a reflection of it, as you can see. Okay, nobody.
Man, I'm so far removed from like what's going on usually with the Academy Awards. Like 3 women have won Best Director. Chloe Zhao, what's that her name? She won, and Jane Campion won in 2022. So even 2021, 2022, we had women winning. And Greta Gerwig has been nominated multiple times, as Amy was saying. So I don't think it's a snub based on that. I think more so it's a snub based on popular comedy movies, man. I don't know.
Has anybody thought of this? Okay, it may be because they want to be different than all the other awards, like Golden Globes and everything else. Okay, because when those came on board, they try to preempt the Academy by putting their shows earlier in the season. But for the longest time, the Academy held the gold standard, if you will, like People's Choice, Golden Globes, whatever. We're the Academy, okay, of motion pictures and cinema. So we're the gold standard here. Those guys are wannabes, right? So as the Academy becomes less relevant, and award shows as a whole have become less relevant, they now have to feel like they have to differentiate their brand, right? So that might be part of it too. Okay, that to me seems more plausible than what everybody else is saying. Okay, because that is driven by one thing and one thing only: money.
Yeah.
Now, is it working? No, it's not working. But we've seen that happen in the world of business.
It's also one of the reasons why the Golden Globes has separate categories for drama versus musical / comedy, right? Like it's a different criteria. And let's be honest, a lot of these Academy Award voters are like really stuck up, pretentious, rich white people probably that like would roll their eyes at something like a comedy being nominated or considered for Best Picture. So I don't know, but I think this is a good chance to because we've spent more time on that than I thought we would, but that just says
it's a big topic.
Yeah, it is a big topic. We could have spent the whole day, but I do want to get into this. So the Roadhouse remake trailer was just dropped.
Which Doug
No, really?
Have
you seen the trailer? Did you watch the trailer?
I saw the trailer.
I have not, but I've read some things. I haven't had time, but I heard it was.
As someone who I'll admit I didn't see the original Roadhouse, but like I've seen this regular, just to me it's a brand new trailer. But I'm like, it looks like it's just a fun action movie.
I think it's going to be horrible.
It looks like it's got a lot of energy in there.
I think it's going to be horrible. I just because by naming it Roadhouse, it's inevitably going to be compared to the original Roadhouse, and that was a diamond in the rough. They should have left it alone. You know what I think it's going to go? I think it's going to end up being like when they tried to make the movie of Starsky and Hutch. Didn't work, bro. Just didn't work. Leave it alone. Starsky and Hutch was a classic. Sliding over the hood of the Gran Torino. I mean, you can't remake that. And then you made it a comedy. I just feel like, the original Roadhouse, 90 minutes, bang, bang, great storyline, kept it quick. Okay. Yeah, I just don't see it, man. And I think it's going to be bad.
All right, let's get into this. All right. I really do appreciate, by the way, Rex, any opportunity you have to bring up that Starsky and Hutch movie, you do.
I love bashing that movie because how could they make that a comedy? That is so wrong. Unbelievable.
All right. So the Roadhouse, it is a remake, right? And I saw the trailer. I'll be talking about it in the wrap up tomorrow morning, but I enjoyed the trailer, honestly. Like it feels like what Roadhouse was in its time. It feels like this is the modern equivalent of that. It's got a lot of ties to UFC. It's got Conor McGregor in it as the villain, Jake Gyllenhaal. It is a remake, but it also feels like it's going to be a little bit different because he's like a former UFC fighter or something like that. But the big thing is this. what Doug Liman said. Doug Liman, the director of this film, the guy who did Swingers, the guy who did The Bourne Identity, guy who did Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Doug Liman, I think, would be considered a big name action director in Hollywood, right? So this was a movie that he signed on to do for MGM. MGM was bought up by Amazon. Amazon has released the information that this is going to go direct to Amazon Prime streaming March 21st or something like that, right? I liked the trailer, by the way. Doug Liman did a Deadline article. I'm going to read a little bit of it. When Roadhouse opens the South by Southwest Film Festival, I won't be attending. The movie is fantastic, maybe my best, and I'm sure it will bring the house down and possibly have the audience dancing in their seats during the end credits, but I will not be there. My plan had been to silently protest Amazon's decision to stream a movie so clearly made for the big screen, but Amazon is hurting way more than just me and my film, so if I don't speak up about Amazon, who will? So here we go. When Amazon bought MGM, one of the few remaining studios making big commercial films for theatrical release, they announced that they would put $1 billion into theatrical motion pictures, releasing at least 12 a year. They touted it as the largest commitment to cinemas by an internet company. I can tell you what they then did to me and my film Roadhouse, which is the opposite of what they promised when they took over MGM. The facts. I signed up to make the theatrical motion picture for MGM. Amazon bought MGM. Amazon said, make a great film. We'll see what happens. I made a great film. We made Roadhouse a smash hit. Amazon's words, not mine, by the way. Roadhouse tested higher than my biggest box office hit, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. It tested higher than The Bourne Identity, which spawned 4 sequels. I am told the press response has been Amazon's best since they bought MGM. Roadhouse has a strong tie-in to the UFC, which has a rabid and loyal fan base and has spawned over 1.5 billion social media impressions for the film, and marketing hasn't even started yet. The action is groundbreaking. Jake Gyllenhaal gives a career-defining performance in a role he was born to play. Audiences will want to see UFC megastar Conor McGregor take a debut swing at Jake on the big screen. The reality is, there's nothing quite so fun as a good bar fight. But instead of going to the theater, they're going direct to streaming. Doug Liman's pissed about this because he feels like Amazon's breaking a promise, not necessarily to him, but to the public, saying that they are going to get behind cinema. They're going to get behind and release 12 movies a year, put so much money into it. Amazon has not done that. They have not lived up to that public statement. And Doug Liman, who considers this one of his best films, is like, why in the hell would you do this? He basically at one point said they're going to use the movie to sell toasters, to try to get people on Amazon Prime, blah, 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 all of this.
I got to tell you, this conversation, and then, and I love Scorsese, and again, but those purists out there, why, what do you mean by that? I made a movie for the big screen. What does that mean? Okay. I mean, in some of the smaller theaters,
it means you made a movie that like people can gather together. Because here's the thing, Rex, there is an anemic release schedule in theaters for the first half of this year. It's anemic. There's not a lot of movies out there.
Right.
Roadhouse is a movie that can, during especially a time like that can put butts in seats. And here's the thing. It is true. The objective data states that movies that release theatrically do better in streaming afterwards. Right now, this is all causing a discussion, which has put the movie back on the radar. If Doug Liman had never done this, and they just released this on Amazon Prime, this would be a movie that came and went. Nobody would be talking about it, right? But this is a movie in this particular state right now that could have done well. How do you make the money? The movie's not going to be able to make money by just putting it on streaming.
Wait. We've talked about this a lot, okay? They're making money, man, streaming. I don't want to hear it no more. I don't want to hear Disney Plus. I don't want to hear Netflix. I don't want to hear Max tell us, we're not making money. You liars. No company that successfully stays in business is losing money like they claim they are losing. They never wanted to tell us or the actors or the writers because they don't want to they don't want to give you a share of the pie. That's very simple. And I understand what you're saying, Anissa, but more money? Are we sure? Are we sure? Because I've never seen a company, greedy or otherwise, okay, go down the path where they make less money, ever. Okay, not
Amazon's
here,
doing it
not
right now,
home.
brother. Amazon's doing it right now. All right, for instance, another movie that Amazon did last year, Air, with the Ben Affleck film about the Air Jordans and the deal, right? I haven't seen it, but I want to see it. Here's the thing. That movie had a budget of like 70 million. It made theatrically 90 million. Not a huge success, but add that in with the Amazon Prime model. If you released Roadhouse in theaters for a few weeks and it made $100 million, that's $100 million more than just dropping it on streaming, bruh.
Let's look at the numbers, guys. Okay, we can't see them all, but the one thing that I know is no company, okay, is sitting there in a boardroom saying, let's take the path that's going to generate less money. Again, I can't see their books, okay, but clearly they thought this path was going to be beneficial to them on a monetary basis, because that is the bread and butter of every company that ends up staying in business. Okay. They don't consciously take the road. Now, whether it be shelving Batgirl or whatever, okay, somewhere down the line, that made financial sense for them. So that's the point I'm trying to make. So if they push Roadhouse, and I want to point out another fact. Essentially, consumption of a movie is not dependent on the size of the screen. So I feel that it is somewhat pretentious of all these purists to tell me where I should consume, okay, anything, okay? And by what he's saying right there is that, no, they should have done it this way because, it was promised to me, and that there's this vague, nebulous difference between cinematic and watching it streaming. I've seen some people in their houses, in their TV rooms, their TV is so big, okay? It was bigger than most movie theaters I went to as a kid. So I'm asking again, what is cinematic in a movie theater different from streaming at home? We've talked about experience, whatever, and that's fine. I'm not saying people shouldn't enjoy that experience if they do. But the numbers tell us the facts. Movie theaters are dying because the niche market of what you're providing appeals to a small niche of the market. But that's not enough to sustain the business that you had a decade, 2 decades ago. Because now those of us who didn't get anything out of that experience, you were just forcing us to give you our money if we want to see this movie now. Okay, I can stream it. So I have and again, nothing against people that enjoy going to movie theaters, but there are less of you than there were, because when you had to go to the movie theaters, a big percentage of those people didn't want to actually go to the movies, but had to if they wanted to see the movie. So the whole conversation, he can be pissy and boycott the opening of the film. That's up to him. Okay, the movie will do what it'll do. Okay, and there's no, okay. Yeah, okay, so Scarlett Johansson, that's a good example, Lefty. Why did she sue for more money?
Well, the big difference between the ScarJo thing and the Doug Liman thing is Doug Liman doesn't have anything in writing of a guarantee that it's going to be released in theater. ScarJo did. So,
well, but it came down to money, though. By not, if I understand correctly, her lawsuit was by not releasing, it won't hit a certain number, and then I won't get paid. I believe was the case. Okay, I don't think there was any kind of guarantee, because that doesn't sound, nobody can guarantee a film's gonna get made or not made. So it didn't become an issue until the pandemic pushed everything back, and then ScarJo said, "Hey, where's my cut of that?" That's really what the essence of the lawsuit was about. Okay, not that they didn't put it up in theaters, but now based on the way our contract is written, I'm not going to get my share of the pie, because I get a smaller share of streaming. I want the same share that I was supposed to get. It's not my fault the pandemic hit and you have to push it to streaming.
What about these numbers, though? I mean, you Rex, you like to tout these numbers, the objective fact. Okay, here's the thing. This is true. Movies that have a theatrical release do better in streaming. More people will go to watch Roadhouse if it has a 3-week engagement in the theaters. If Roadhouse is in theaters for a month and it gains positive traction, more people are going to go to Amazon Prime to watch it.
Here's the problem with your numbers. Okay, you have to look at where your numbers come from historically. Okay, straight to streaming is a recent thing that happened because of the pandemic. Okay, so every number that you're using is an example pre-pandemic. So the traditional path was movie theaters to streaming. Okay. And if it did poorly, okay, in the movie theaters, it's because it was a crappy film. So it didn't do well
Rex,
streaming.
this is happening today. It's the reason why Pixar and Disney are re-releasing their movies in theaters right now that they didn't. And they're on an apology tour basically about it. It's the reason why Tenet is being re-released by Warner Brothers in theaters as we speak, man.
Let's see what numbers they generate. But that's my point exactly. Okay. That's my point exactly. You go to that example, but we've had shows where we've talked about how all their movies are failing. Doesn't matter if it opens up in a cinema. Doesn't matter if you're streaming. They all suck. Okay. So they have a fundamental problem. They have to fix.
News.
What's that?
No, just this comment. Like, we pay for an experience, and when we stream, we get up, we kind of devalue the art a little bit. We just have it on in the background.
Nerdtastic, that's fine. I don't disagree with anyone's personal choice, but we don't all need that. I don't need quiet. I don't need, I want to watch the content of the movie, and I like the freedom of, I got to go to the bathroom. Okay. These movies now are like 3 hours long. I got to go to the bathroom movie theater. Are you going to pause that for me? No, I'm going to just miss that part. Okay. So what is my point exactly? Is
what do you do if you go see the Eagles in concert, Rex, or Fleetwood Mac? What happens if you got to take a piss during a Cure concert? Like, I mean, you expect them to say, what happens if you're out there at the theater? If you go see a Broadway show or something, I'm not this conversation. I'm telling you, man, movies that are released theatrically do better on streaming. Amazon putting this on streaming is devaluing this movie off the fucking bat. A movie which the trailer has gained traction this week. This is a movie that people want to go see. This is a movie that people want to go see Oppenheimer and Barbie. You know what I'm saying? People want to go see that. If we give them something they want, we'll go see it. If you build it, they will come, Rex.
No, they won't. You're not going to look. You guys are a segment of the population. Understood. I'm a segment of the population. Understood. I pay for every streaming service known to man. You're not getting me back. That's what I'm trying to explain to me. I'm not bashing on the movie theater experience. You all getting this wrong. You guys are welcome to go to movie theaters. Happy for you. Enjoy it. That's a good time. That's your thing. Okay. But I'm not. So basically saying that streaming is killing the movie theaters is not true. Okay. It is in a way, but it's not because they're going to streaming. There's a segment of the population that will wait for it. So I don't really care if they open up this movie and don't go straight to Netflix, Roadhouse on the theaters. Go ahead. I'll wait a little longer. No big deal. I got plenty of things I can stream before that comes out, but I'm not going to go see it. I didn't go to the movie theater to see Barbie. So you all have to accept that there's a segment of the population like me. Okay. And we've talked about this before. Why will I go to a ball game? Yeah, I got to go to the bathroom. I'm going to miss a play. Okay. Why? Because you give me an experience I can't get at home. Okay. Going to the ballpark, hanging out with my nephew, getting the hot dogs, getting the cheesesteaks, drinking my way overpriced beer that would be so much cheaper if I pulled it out of the fridge of my house. Okay. That's me. But movie theater, no. So that's what I'm saying is that the industry has to accept that segment of the population, we have options. You're not getting us back. So you better rethink how you're doing it. So how Netflix is doing with Roadhouse's internal decision, whatever, or Amazon, whatever the internal decisions they made had to make sense for them. All right. I don't know what they are. Okay. But quite honestly, maybe they saw the movie and like, I don't know. Okay. I mean, the director, very nice article, patting himself on the back. He gave like 3 sentences as to why.
It's true. I don't want to detract from this, but I don't know if I trust Doug Liman when he says his Roadhouse remake is better than The Bourne Identity. I don't know if I trust him on that. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, but his whole article, okay, was
but
really
the test audience stuff is true. If it's testing well, Rex, if it's testing better than anything else Amazon has done, why not put it out in theaters?
You mean
gain a little bit of traction, a little bit of word of mouth, make whatever you can. Whatever, dude. I'll tell you what, dude. If they drop Flash first thing on streaming, like they would have not have made what they would have made in the theaters. Like,
Right, they had to
dude,
do
you
something back.
completely cut out the theater money when you don't release it in the theaters. No matter what it's going to be, that is no longer added. Who's going to sign up for Amazon Prime to watch Roadhouse? Nobody. They're not making money on it, man.
Yeah, I thought Flash was released in theaters. It did poorly because it was a bad movie. Okay, was an actor they should have dumped. Okay, you got rid of
Amazon
Kang.
does have a marketing budget, by the way, Marcus. They're putting money behind this to market it. They're marketing it right now. It's all over. You'll probably get an ad for it on this video. I'm not even kidding, man. They are putting marketing money in this movie, and they're losing money by not putting it in theaters. Rex, you're ridiculous. You're ridiculous, Rex.
How am I ridiculous? Outside of the pandemic, why do you think theaters are
Because if it makes $100 million in the theaters, that's $100 million that they're not going to make by just shoving it on Prime with everything else. And let's be honest, how often do you think of Amazon as a streaming service compared to like Netflix or Disney Plus or HBO Max Go, whatever the hell that's called now? Amy, I want your thoughts on this because Rex is heating me.
That's my job.
I think I understand if you really want your movie to be in a theater, like you like
Jaybirds.
I'd be upset too if I thought my movie was gonna get to be in a theater. I'd probably feel the same. And I think again, plenty of movies out there should deserve to be in a theater, no matter how much money they make. At least you can still go see it. And sometimes someone maybe if they went back to the old model and like waited to release certain things, that maybe that would start to make a difference. Because I remember that was a point. Sometimes we had to wait like for months to something to be on physical media, but once it was, everyone would go get it.
So let me get this straight. So by your logic, both of yours, the studios are losing money because they're not going to theaters first. Theaters are losing money because these production companies are streaming first. So basically, everybody's just losing money, and nobody's saying anything about it within the corporate boardroom, right? Does that make sense? See, I'm telling you, there's hidden money that they're making in streaming that they're not revealing to us. They grudgingly revealed some of those numbers to SAG and the Writers Guild, okay, because they had to, because of the strike. So why did it last that long? Let's ask ourselves that question, because one of the key points was streaming and AI. So why? Because they don't want to show you the numbers. I'm telling you, nobody's sitting at the head of Sony or Disney or Universal saying, you know what, let's not make 100 million and let's go directly to streaming. Nobody's saying that, guys. Okay? Average comic show, you can say that, but I'm asking a very simple question. Do we honestly think that they're all morons? Disney will be out of business in 5 years if they're leaving that kind of money on the table and going directly to streaming. So, I would say they did,
Rex. Disney literally did that with movies like Turning Red and Soul. So they're putting them back in theaters to make money because they can't make money. They can't make money spending millions of dollars on making these movies and putting them on a streaming service that's not bringing in new subscribers.
Can I add something? Okay,
yes.
It might work for kids' films. Okay, might work for kids' films.
They're doing it right now with Tenet.
I guarantee you, every kid that goes to the theater has seen those movies. Because you can get repeat business out of kids. You want to know how many times I watched Lilo and Stitch? At one point I could repeat all the dialogue. I used to do it to piss my daughter off because I'd be like half second ahead of the dialogue on TV. That's how many times I saw it. So you can capture that audience that way. Those kids, I guarantee you, sold all of them. They've seen it already on Disney Plus. Now they're going to go to a movie theater and have an event. Maybe they'll give something away. Kids, you can get away with that. Adults, you can't. Okay. Simple. This is simple marketing 101. Okay? I can see why they do it. Okay. But you're all saying, no, streaming's a loser. Then they would have released all the numbers and then justify raising the price. Because why not? Look, guys, we're losing money, so we're going to have to jack up the monthly price. I'm sorry. Okay. If they had those numbers and they showed that they were losing money streaming, they would have showed it to us. But it's all secretive. So they could bump up the monthly price. They're making money.
Which is happening with your beloved Netflix. Your prices are about to go up again on Netflix because the ones that are not changing are the ad supported ones because they want everybody to get back down. They want everybody to go back down, spend less, good deal with the ads when you watch a TV show or movie. And then what's the difference now between this and cable?
That's the one move, but the other move they're making as well. Okay, you got to describe the whole picture. Now, different streaming services and different channels are looking to bundle together, kind of like we used to have with cable, to try to lower the individual costs, because they now realize we've done all of it, no sharing, all that, we pocketed all that money, but now we've hit that threshold. So now we're going to start losing subscribers because we jacked the price up so high, okay, that we got the short-term benefit, but right now people just can't afford it. So now we got to bring the prices down. Now, how can they bundle like that at a cheaper price and not lose money? Okay, everybody's saying it's tinfoil, dude. What I'm saying has more realism than what you're claiming that a company is walking away from money. A lot of it, I don't buy.
Well, if you really want to put a tinfoil hat on, all of this is kayfabe to make us talk about Roadhouse this week when we probably wouldn't have talked about it otherwise.
I will go back. Here's my problem with the remake. Okay, and why I think it's not going to do well. I think the premise is completely different, right? So the new movie, I assume, if he's UFC, he has to stop fighting for some reason, gets into to this business with bars or whatever, right?
Yeah, he
so
gets hurt, and then he gets sought out by somebody who finds out, hey,
right,
you're the baddest, you're the best. I want you to come and handle this. And then they go into bikini car wash territory where some rich mogul's trying to take over the land that the Roadhouse is on and build like condominiums or something.
All right, but my premise is, in new movie is I'm a tremendous fighter, okay, and so they're going to hire me in this business because I can beat the crap out of people. The original Roadhouse, if you remember, Patrick Swayze's character wasn't like that. He was a professional in this business. He was a cooler, okay. His job was to minimize fights, not get into a big fight in a bar, but make sure that one scene where they, you want to go outside, they all go outside, and he closes the door. The premise, the message was different. It was almost like, a Sun Tzu sort of art of war thing. The best way to win a fight is not have the fight at all. And this message is coming, Conor McGregor, come on, dude. He represents all that's wrong with UFC, okay? Throwing chairs at buses, out of control, okay? Beating up people at bars because some guy said he didn't like his bourbon. Come on. So I feel like that the whole message is going to be different. Kind of. That's why I thought it was going to.
Yeah, it might be. The trailer's nice because the trailer starts with Jake Gyllenhaal, like he's out and these dudes are confronting him, and he just goes, "All right, is your insurance paid up? Are you good? You got dental? How far away is that?" He's like asking, like, "Is the hospital close?" And he does it before he like starts like going. You should watch the trailer. The trailer's actually cool. Here's what I'm saying: with a trailer that's doing well, right? With a movie by a dude who has box office draw with things like Mr. and Mrs. Smith, The Bourne Identity, that whole franchise. And then you have regardless of what you think about Conor McGregor, you have the UFC tie-in too. That's a lot of money, right? And Doug Liman already mentions 1.5 billion impressions on social media from the UFC tidbit alone. This is a movie people would go see in the theater, man. UFC fans might go see this movie. Movie fans will go see this movie. Gyllenhaal fans, Lyman fans will go see it.
I think the fight scenes are going to be great, but I just feel like, why not just use a different name? You could have told the story without calling it Roadhouse. You know what I'm saying? Because I just feel like, I don't know. Inevitably, when they do that, you compare it. You're going to make that comparison. Anissa, good point, but actually, if he comes over and beats me up, I could sue him, and then I can retire. So that may not be all bad. So if Conor McGregor's listening.
Amy, do you have any final thoughts on this topic?
I don't know what else to add, really, because this is the most passionate I've seen Rex in a while. Like, wow, I don't.
Well, we touch on a lot of subjects here, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do. I mean, me and Rex are very, very opposite on this, though.
Absolutely. I look at it. I've worked in corporate America long enough to know how it works. Okay, now do they make stupid mistakes and lose money? Do they make bad moves? Yes. Do they deliberately walk away from money? Never. It just never happens, man. So I just find it hard to believe that they would, deliberately do something like that if it meant less money.
All right, Amy, take us home and bring us a little bit of balance back, please.
With
Aggressively, I am so losing to Connor. I don't care if he's 5 foot tall.
bring it back to balance. I mean, I appreciate everyone sharing their thoughts. I don't think anyone's right or wrong, but I'm happy to hear more opinions, and I'm excited to learn. Learn.
It's always more fun, these kind of shows, as opposed to one where we all agree. You know, I mean, I hate the ones where we all agree with something. That's no fun. Shows. Yeah. You ever notice like we're trying to stretch? We've got to the 30-minute mark because we all agree. We got to find another topic. When we disagree, that's when it's interesting. Yeah, no, OUG. I watched it the other night. I just because it was coming out, and dude, it's still a classic, man. It's still a classic.
It's a great film, man, and I'm excited to check out the new one. I'll watch it even if it's on Amazon Prime. But you know, one thing is this: we are talking about it. We're talking about it a lot more than we were, because last time we mentioned this, like on our anticipated movies, we were all like, eh. But now I feel like it's my duty to watch this movie.
See, I have changed someone's opinion. Never to my side, but usually more to their own side that they started with. But no, I love Roadhouse. I mean, that one scene where he brings his medical records into the hospital and stuff, just stuff like that. You know, stitching himself. I mean, dude. It was such a great movie, and nobody saw it coming. That was the best part.
Yeah. Amy, real quick though, would you have gone to see Roadhouse in theaters if it got dropped in theaters?
Again, Roadhouse isn't usually my go-to kind of movie, but if I heard the good reviews, again, word of mouth is important. I consider it. I would consider it seeing it in theaters. Like if it's a fun time, then it's a fun time. It's yeah.
All right.
I would have been happy to go see it.
Yeah, so I mean, you know, look, I hate it when they mess with classics. I think the storyline they wanted to tell, they could have done without using the Roadhouse name, but then inevitably they would probably say, "Oh, you're trying to rip off Roadhouse." So I see the dilemma there.
All right, Rex, Amy, thank you once again for this. Has been one of my favorite conversations we've ever had on this channel, to be honest with you.
I got the Rockin Robbie. He was getting a little steamed up there. Oh yeah.
I can't wait to watch it on the replay.
You're a pretty affable guy, usually laughing. So I really accomplished something today.
Oh, no, it's fine. And what I love about it is we can have those like heated debates about things and realize that ultimately it doesn't matter, Rex. Like me and you, we're still homies. We're still going to stick up for each other, right? We're just talking about movies.
Who's going to listen to us? Who's going to listen to us anyway, right?
Exactly. Rex, Amy, thank you so much. What y'all got coming up?
All right. So no original art show tonight. Nick is traveling, so he'll be back next Friday. Not today, but next Friday. But big news for Monday, which I think we might have talked about last Monday. We're going to have Ken Hazer here. We're going to have Ken Hazer original art covers from Gargoyles, Disney Gargoyles. A lot of sketch covers by him, and hopefully we'll be able to convince him to actually make a sketch cover while he's live on the air on Monday. So that's 6 to 8 Eastern time on the EXP. It's going to be a lot of fun. Whenever Ken's here, it's always a lot of fun. And to watch him work, hopefully he will, is just phenomenal. I mean, I don't have that talent to watch him do it. The man doesn't even look up the character. He does it from memory. Doesn't have to size it out. We just tell him, can you draw a Silver Surfer, Flash, whoever? And boom, I've never seen anything like it. What a gift he has. But so very excited about that. As you can see, I'm a big Ken Hazer fan. So, and original art will be available. And then we'll be back Wednesday. And then Friday again with Robbie. Okay, pick some good ones, man.
Well,
it should be
next
counterpoint,
week.
Counterpoint.
There's probably not going to be a show next week because I'll be in Orlando.
Well, that's right. You're MegaCon.
Yeah, I'm at MegaCon. So
yeah,
everybody come join us at MegaCon. If you're going to be there, it's going to be a blast. I'm going to be there. Bueller's going to be there. Spillio's going to be there. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. Eli Roth's there. We're going to try to get him to go to Twin Peaks with us. What do you think? We got a shot, Rex?
Who knows? I know you guys are going to make your best effort.
Coming up here for me, though, you can catch me live tomorrow night on Dylan's Horror Show as we talk about one of my favorite Stephen King film adaptations, The Dark Half. Rockin Robbie live on Sunday night, and then Monday night after the EXP show. Join us for 12 Monkeys. That's what we're talking about on PCP Movie Night, the Terry Gilliam 1995. I'd like to consider it a classic. So I'm very, very excited for that. Rex, Amy, love you. Thank you so much. You out there,
Appreciate
PCP
you,
Army.
buddy.
Everybody, thank you,
We
Robbie.
love
Have a
you.
great
Thank
weekend,
you.
everyone.